Geek'd, what's poppin'? It's Adonis. Today, Demon Slayer the movie Mugen Train dropped here in Australia. So I'm gonna give you guys my review on the movie, and at the end we'll talk about spoilers. If you guys want to discuss a little more in depth, I'll also leave a spoiler comment chat in the comment section. So you guys want to talk about it there, just reply to that pinned comment, and we can talk about spoilers there. Now, before we get into it, if you guys liked the first season of Demon Slayer, you're going to love this movie. If you didn't like the first season of Demon Slayer, you're probably not going to like this movie. You know, people are like very bifurcated. They either love this or they hate it. I don't know why, but it is what it is. So with that said, let's get into this. So the movie starts off directly after season one. We have Tanjiro and crew on the train. Obviously, Kirojuro's on there as well. And they're there looking to take care of some demon action. Now, if you've seen the trailer, you also know that the antagonist that they show in the movie trailer has some kind of ability to put people in a dream state. And this causes some really interesting sequences. Some really funny, some a tad annoying, and some really emotional. And if you assume that the annoying was Zenitsu, you would be correct. Now, being completely blunt about it, the story was pretty good. It did start out a tad bit slow for me. I think the pacing could have been a little bit better early on. But once you start getting into more of what's going on with this particular demon, how his power works, and, you know, them trying to get out of this particular scenario that they're in is actually really interesting, and it starts to pick up steam, because the train, doesn't matter. Now, I don't want to go into the story too much because what you see in the trailer is only half of what the story is. And I don't want to talk about any spoilers. So as far as the story goes, I'll say what you've seen in the trailer as far as the concept of the story, we'll rate that as maybe a 6. But the entire of the story of, everything that's covered in the movie, I'd probably put at an 8. Because there's some other things in there that are really interesting and I really wish I could talk about, but I don't want to spoil anything. So there you go. But again, spoilers will be at, the end. So we can talk about it there. One thing I will say, if you think the story is focused just around Tanjiro, this movie is not just focused around Tanjiro. A big part of the movie is focused on somebody else. And I don't want to say which character on the lineup that it is, but just know the story is deep and there will be tears. There will be tears and tears. The emotions in this movie are awesome. Now, a lot of you know that I'm not that much of an emotional person when it comes to movies, at least up until January of this year. Let's say that. But with that being said, there was a ton of sniffle action going on in the theater. People were sniffling, a lot of that going on. There's some really deep and well thought out scenes, a lot of emotional impact. And again, it's not just from one particular character. There's some really cool stuff going on. So if you guys are looking for some heartstring pulls, this movie has it. It definitely has it. And tying into that emotion is the music. The score of the movie is actually really solid. It makes you feel really connected to the scenes, whether it be action or the emotional scenes. Very good on the score. And I think that's something that Demon Slayer does really well anyways. Even in the anime, I really love the music that they selected for certain sequences. So if you love the music in the anime, you'll love the music here in the movie. Now, the next topic is animation and fight sequences. Now, this is what actually makes this anime so controversial, and I don't even know why, but people are like, oh, it's only good because of its animation, or people say, no, but the animation is really good. It's this weird thing that just kind of pulls the fandom apart. Really strange. But with that being said, the animation in this movie is ridiculous. It is unbelievably good. So you still have the art style that you're familiar with. It's just cranked up. You can tell the budget was there to really support some of the things visually they wanted to do. And I think that's maybe the reason why they decided to go this route instead of doing it the regular traditional anime route, because they probably knew they could get the budget for it. And man, the payoff on some of these fight sequences are incredible. Even the regular sequences of them on the train, this is the crazy part. Demon Slayer, and I said this during my anime reactions and things like that, is they utilize 3D so well. so well. I still think from what I've seen in anime and reacted to, it still utilizes 3D the best out of any of the animes that are out there. And in this movie, it's just showing that again. How the train looks, the train is in 3D and it looks phenomenal. Really dope. How they utilize 3D for scenes that they're in, as opposed to the character, they utilize 3D for the environments to create depth without it seeming like just, trees and they just keep, replaying the same sequence over and over. There's a beautiful care that they have with the 3D, and I applaud it. I think it's really dope. Now, there was some things visually, and I haven't read the manga, so I'm not sure if it's, pulling directly from that source material, but the main villain that they show in the trailer, he has a particular power with the train, and you see it play out. And that use of 3D, I'm not sure if it's just the because of the character that it looks so strange. And if you have seen the movie, you understand what I'm talking about. They show some of it in the trailer, but it's really, really brief and you can't really tell that much in the trailer. But some of that stuff is really wonky. And it's not wonky as in the execution was wonky. I just think if the character does that in the manga, it just doesn't translate well into 3D. And I'm not sure if if it would have looked good in 2D. It's just a really strange choice, I think. Yeah. Now, a lot of people are saying, it's one of the greatest anime movies of all time. It is the #1 movie of all time in Japan. Look, I'm gonna be honest. The pacing in the movie, for me, it's slow. It was a slow burn. It took me a minute to really, get the things moving and me to be really, really invested. I'll be completely honest with you. But once it started to move, man, it was moving. And then the end was the end was amazing. The movie ended so good. Matter of fact, let me know what you think is more important, for a movie to start off strong or to end strong. Obviously, you want the movie to be good through the entirety of the movie, but would you rather it start off strong or end strong? Let me know. I think this movie ends so strong. So, I mean, I guess with that and the emotional moments in this movie, obviously the animation was going to be there for sure. The voice acting was incredible. I'm probably going to give this movie an 8.5 out of 10. It was really, really good. But I want to say, if that first act wasn't so drawn out, it definitely did feel a tad slow for me. It probably would have been a 9, because I was like, man, when is this movie going to really, get moving? But man, there are some sequences in this movie that were just incredible. They were so good. I actually may go into the manga just to read the section of the train, just to see if they pulled things from it or if maybe they adapted some new things. But if you guys have seen the movie, let me know what your score is for the movie in the comments down below. But right now, we're going to be talking about spoilers, the specific parts of the movie that maybe weren't in the trailer, or just diving deeper into some of the character stuff, because this movie has some really cool things. So let's talk about that now. You've been warned. Spoiler warning is now in full effect. Okay, so spoilers. Kiro Juro is, oh my God. So this is the crazy thing, right? We knew he was on the train, but in the trailers, they don't really focus on him, right? And him being essentially the other main character of this movie is kind of amazing. I know some people are like, well, he's still not the main character, but I feel like what they did with his dream, how they tie that into what's going on now currently in the movie, and then him seeing his mom at the end, and that whole, like, there was a lot with him, right? Especially with him needing to fight the upper third demon at the end of the movie. And these are the things that I feel are amazing when it comes to the movie itself. Is you didn't get any of that in the trailer. You got none of that last act in the trailer at all. So I love the fact that you went in thinking who the main villain is of this movie, and come to find out there is a badder motherfucker, a real serious problem there. That's awesome. I was so happy, because I was like, man, this is how it's ending? Like, that was really anticlimactic. And then we have this moment. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. And that fight scene was incredible. It was so good. His whole story to me was really interesting. Obviously, with the dad, we still need to kind of know what's going on with that, and I feel like they kind of set that up for the actual season 2 of Demon Slayer. He's like, "Look, I need you to go talk to my pops. You need to go there and read through these things because he wants to learn more about fire breathing." Now, the other thing for me is the other demon has his sword, so is he gonna use Kidojuro's sword? Because we also know that he took that sword out of him, and and the demon ran off. So that sword is there. Tanjiro's sword is no longer with them. So I wonder if he's going to take his sword and use his sword, or is he going to get another sword made? Not 100% sure how that's going to work. But with that setup of him saying, "You got to go talk to my dad," I think we're going to figure out, why his dad became the way that he became. Was it because that he lost his wife? Is there other things at play there? Very curious to see how that pans out, and will he actually help Tanjiro? And then obviously the younger brother moment of him saying, "Look, tell my younger brother, like, to live your life, do the things that really make you happy." Like that, those moments, bro, that moment was so powerful because of what you saw earlier in the movie with him saying, "Hey, how, how did dad react when you told him that you're is it a Hashirama? Is that a Hashirama? Is a Hashira?" I don't know why I said Hashirama. And he was like, "Look, I'm not even gonna hold you." He didn't even care. He was like, "It's not that serious." And you could tell his younger brother got disheartened by that. He's like, "Look, man, like, you gotta live for you. You gotta live for you. Like, don't let that bring you down. Let that fire burn within you." I just thought that moment was important because I've been there. Me and my brother have been there before. So they're not because of our dad, but just saying, like, that moment of trying to help somebody get to that next level, maybe because they want to impress somebody else or their parent or their sibling or whatever. It's a really interesting moment, but I don't know, it resonated with me on a whole other level. And then obviously the speech he gave to Tanjiro at the end of the movie was, man, that made that the tears were coming for sure. I mean, it was just one of those things where, him talking about his sister, "I saw her bleeding, she was bleeding for the people. She was out there saving people's lives." He's like, she's as far as I'm concerned, she's a demon slayer. Like, she's a part of the core. I just thought that was dope. I thought that was really fire. And obviously Tanjiro wanted to, learn from him, but he saw him really give it his all, and still he never gave in to the situation. He didn't want to become a demon, all of that. And even though the upper third was leading him on, it's like, "Nah, bro, like, yo, you could level up. You could be incredible. Like, you over here slacking, trying to just be human." So I want to know what that's about. Are some of these demons, were some of them Hashiras in the past, and said, "You know what? It's time to elevate," right? That could be interesting, bro. That could be amazing if some of them were previous demon slayers and they just said, "You know what? I want some of that demon sauce." That could be crazy. Again, I haven't read it, but just theorizing, thought it would be really cool. And that's kind of what popped into my head when he was saying that. Now, obviously, Tanjiro, when he goes back and sees his family, that's also another emotional moment. It didn't hit me anywhere near as hard as the end of the movie, but definitely one of those moments that make you kind of like, it kind of sits in your stomach a little bit. I really like that moment quite a bit. Him being in that mode, obviously, that dream sequence, he started to figure out as he was saying certain things, like when he was getting the logs, like, "Let's go, let's go." And he was like, "Why did I say that? Like, why did I?" Like he had these subconscious things that he would do that now, because he's in his dream, the subconscious is still popping, and he's like, "Why did I say that? Like, why?" And he forgets that he's in a dream, but now he's figuring out, especially when he goes to get water, his self is in the water saying, "Yo, bro, you gotta wake up. We under attack right now." I just thought that was awesome. Thought it was a really cool visual. We see the other two dreams going on, the other three dreams going on. Uh, so yeah, I thought the dream sequences were cool. Some comedic stuff going on, obviously, with the other two. I keep forgetting their names, but is it Inosuke and Zenitsu? Their dreams were just more comedic than anything, right? Playing more to their characters. And then, even Kurojuro, his dream was just deep, right? It was building that character's backstory, making you care about this character, and then he gets taken away. that scene was so crazy. But again, the fight sequences were so good. They were so good. I just absolutely loved the fight sequences in this movie. It was spectacular. But I do, like I said before in the non-spoiler section, the 3D of the first the lower fourth demon when he turned into the glob shit, I was just like, I don't know. I don't know if it was, again, I'm not sure if it's like that in the actual manga, but if it is, I don't know. It didn't resonate, didn't translate properly. It just looked really strange. It actually made it less, it I don't know, the level of fear that this character was portraying early on just kind of fell through the floor for me. I was like, oh, you're just you're blobs now. Like it didn't do anything for me. There, because maybe it was because there was no face to the character, there was no personality. It was just blobs everywhere, grabbing. Like it just seemed um, very disconnected. The character just did not resonate at all at that after that point. Like you didn't care about the character because that character had no expressions. You heard a scream or you saw more hands come out. You know what I mean? It would just, that part lost me. I was like, ah, okay, all right. But after that, when the upper third came up, I was like, oh boy, that was crazy. That was when things really took off. But yeah, overall, like I said, 8.5. If that, I'm telling you, man, if those two things, the CG for the blob shit, I just think it should have been a different thing. I think they maybe should have rewritten it if that wasn't what it was. If that was the same thing in the manga and they just adapted it like that, they should have changed it up. I feel like that was an opportunity to make that better. And if they stuck with what the manga did, it didn't resonate in the movie for me. And if they changed it for the movie, that was a bad decision. That was a bad decision if that was a change for the movie. And then obviously the pacing at the beginning just really didn't hit well with me. But once we got moving, we were moving. So, but yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. Did you like the Demon Slayer Mugen? I don't want to say Hell Train, Mugen Train movie. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts. And also, if you guys want to talk about the spoilers, just reply to the pinned comment and we could talk about it there. Other than that, guys, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Till then, stay geeked.